Are recording. Awesome. So fingers crossed that works for people who can't make it here. So because we are recording this session, by being with us tonight, you are consenting to be recorded. That's our privacy notice. That's basically it. But this will be a great way to share the information with other people. So I wanted to start by welcoming everybody to this call for our community town hall and our season opener. I think it's the first one of its kind that IISA has really done, or IISA Canada has really done, and pretty excited to be hosting this session and to have all of you here. Canada is such a large country that this is a really great way to get people together from all areas of our country and to actually give you an opportunity to meet other ice swimmers, even if it's virtually. It's probably the best way we can do it. So welcome. The session is going to be hosted in English, but for those of you who would like things en français, we do have all the materials available for you in both official languages, so you have the same information. And we will try to make this recording available in closed captioning as well, too, for people. So I think what we'll do is we're going to jump right into the agenda. So Amy, if you don't mind flipping to the next slide. I'm going to walk you through the agenda, but first some housekeeping stuff. So this meeting is set for 1 hour. And at the end of that 1 hour, unfortunately, it will automatically cut off. So time is important. And we'd really like to get through all of our slides, but we'd also like to give people an opportunity to talk as well. So I'm going to be your moderator. And that means I'm going to try to make sure that we can all focus on the speaker. Please mute your microphones. If you don't do it, I'm going to figure out how to do it for you. That way we don't have to hear any background noise or, as Sue said, robotic stuff. I don't quite know. But anyway, keep yourselves muted until we have an opportunity to speak together. To make sure that the presenter has a chance to finish what is on their slide, I just ask that you hold all of your questions until the presenter opens the floor for them. So just let us get through the material, and then at the end of every slide or two, Amy or Jesse will pause and we'll ask if anybody has any questions or wants to make any comments, and then we'll move on, because that way we won't get, there'll be good flow and it'll keep things moving. And I think we could probably talk about ice swimming all night long. I think all of us here probably could, but we only have the 1 hour. So my job is to keep Amy and Jesse in line, make sure we get through the material. But also, if I feel like a conversation is going down a bit of a rabbit hole, please don't be offended. I'm going to probably step in and say, hey guys, maybe we could take that one offline, or maybe we do an email together, or we could answer that question separately because it's a bigger topic. So that'll be my role, will be to sort of keep people in check time-wise, and I'm going to keep my eye on the time as well, too, to make sure that we do everything within the hour and still manage to get through some good conversation, but some really good material as well, too. Okay, so we're going to go to the next slide, and I'm going to introduce the IISA Canada Board of Directors. So we have, of course, if you're relatively new to this, I recognize a lot of names on this call, but that doesn't mean that all of you are very familiar with IISA. There's a global organization, and we are one chapter under it. So we're IISA Canada, and we're here to support you and to support IISA Global's mandate and to support it within Canada. And this is your board of directors. And so we're here to help you. And we want to make sure you know who we are and you know how to reach us. We probably won't have time to come back to it at the end of this presentation, but the very last slide has all of our contact points. Please be sure that you reach out. So we have, of course, our chair, Amy Jones. We have our vice chair, JD Tremblay, who I think is going to join us on the call. We have our event coordinator, Frederic Masson. Our safety officer, Jesse Horowitz, which I think a lot of you know as well, too. Our media coordinator, that's me. And we have some new members. We have advisors. We have Mel Van Pippen, who couldn't be here tonight. And we have Gabriela Herrera, who's on, I believe, on the call as well, too. So just to give you a sense of where everybody's from, and the background, I think it's kind of interesting. Amy, Mel, and Gabriela are in Ontario. JD and Frederick are in Quebec. Jesse is all the way over in BC. And I'm all the way down in New Brunswick. So we have representation from a very wide range of provinces, I think very active ice swimming provinces in Canada. To give you some sense of the experience on your board, people like myself started ice swimming in 2014, and we have people like Mel who started during the pandemic. There's people who've been doing it for a really long time and people who have just sort of started more recently. Amy, Jesse, and Mel and myself have all done ratified ice miles. Amy, Frederick, and Mel went to the World Championship ice swimming competition, IISA's championship in Mulveno, Italy in January. It was, I think, the first time Canada ever did something like that. JD is an accomplished ultra triathlete, endurance triathlete, public speaker, writer. Jesse's very active in her community. First Canadian to swim the North Channel, which is very chilly water, in case you don't know. But she complained it was warm the whole time. And Gabriella on the team as well too has swum in some really incredible places like Iceland, Greenland, and Costa Rica. So there's a lot of different experience here, and I think that's made for a really interesting team, and I think a lot of different perspectives. So I think with that, I'm going to hand it over to Amy, who's going to walk you through our materials tonight. We're going to start with a little bit of preparing for an ice mile, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the rules and some new rules, and then Jessie will jump in and show you all the work she's been doing on her checklist. So go for it, Amy.
Thanks, Nadine. Hi, everybody. It's great. I'm so excited that everybody's here to listen in, and that we have such a great turnout for this opener. So just getting right into it. So an ice mile is a personal achievement. It's not intended for competition. It's an individual challenge, okay? Official ice miles are ratified if they're a continuous non-stop, unassisted swim for a distance of 1 British mile or 1.609 kilometers. That is done in water 5 degrees Celsius or below. And then this swim needs to be swum in accordance with the ice mile rules and regulations, including that ice mile checklist, okay, and all the other information before an ice mile. All right, I'm going to go to the next slide, and then I'll ask if there's any questions after the next slide. Okay, so now this slide here is also applicable for people who may not be looking to do an ice mile, but you're doing swimming or dipping, you're spending a lot of time in extreme cold temperatures, okay? So you can there's still takeaways from this slide for you. All right, so some key things to look at is that you're acclimatizing to extreme cold conditions. You're spending time in the water, following the temperature through the seasons, knowing how your body is swimming, keeping a good controlled rate. You know, your heart rate's okay, nice smooth stroke still while in very cold water. Knowing how your body how you react to the after drop. Everybody reacts differently. You know, if you talk to different people, you're going to find a whole bunch of different symptoms and things that work and things that didn't, okay? So learn your own limits and your own warning signs. Practice your process from beginning to end. Make sure you've prepared, you have your warm drink, your clothes, what you need for afterwards, your setup on the shore, everything from beginning to end, and practice it. Okay? Progress slowly. It's not a race, all right? You really need to take the time to know how you react and what works for you. So some other good things to consider before doing an ice mile: take your time, you know, try to get a full season or a couple in swimming in conditions below 5 degrees before you decide to make an attempt. So be in the water a lot, know how you recover, what your after drop is for you, what you need to get through it, okay? And making sure that you train enough so that you're comfortable when you do the attempt, and not training on the low end and being like, oh, I'll just push through it those last 300 meters I haven't done before. Okay, so you don't want to be in that situation. Make sure you're comfortable. Safety always comes first. You know, no matter how hard you trained, on the day of, it just something may not be right. Don't push it. Do it another time. Again, it's not a competition. Those people that you swim with, whether or not you're training for an ice mile, whether you're dipping or swimming, but either way, you're in these extreme cold temperatures. Remember, you're swimming with a buddy or a group. Those are your teammates, okay? Safety first. Listen to each other, share concerns, share your wins, listen to each other, respect each other's comfort levels. for distances and times in the water, and communicate with each other, okay? You're connected, you're teammates, so work together and learn from each other, okay? Are there any questions so far? And I can't actually see, so if anything, Liz.
Oh, Liz.
I can see. Liz, I think you're muted still. Oh, sorry, Liz, you're still muted.
Sorry about that. I've just been getting messages from a few people saying they can't get in the meeting. I don't know who's moderating the meeting and letting people into the meeting itself.
Thank you. JD, if possible, because you have access, thank you, Liz. Because you have access to the mailbox, can you please go and see if you can help people get in?
Yes,
Okay, thank you so much.
but it's
Oh, you're muted. All right.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Sorry,
the queue is full.
What did he say?
I'll send you a WhatsApp.
I just wanted, hopefully, it's under the understanding that a lot of people already know some of the definitions of some of this stuff, because this is an intro, but just a quick reminder that everybody knows what after drop is and all these things. And if there's any confusion on terminology, please reach out to us if there's any other questions. That's all I wanted to add. Sorry.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Okay. All right. So moving on. So also preparing for an ice mile. Before you go, did somebody? Okay, sorry, I heard a little ding. You need to prove to IISA Global that you're ready to do an ice mile. So you need to have a documented qualifying swim that's uploaded to your IISA member bio. This isn't a guarantee that you're going to successfully complete that ice mile, but it's a good guideline to help you train. So if I direct your attention to the second from the right column, the individual qualifying for an ice mile, so it gives a range of distances over a range of temperatures down to 0 degrees Celsius, okay? So this gives you an idea of what your targets are for when you're training to try to help you, okay? Remember, you need to do that IISA medical form and your ECG. You need that medical form signed by a doctor, not a nurse practitioner. It needs to be a doctor. It's valid for 12 months up until the date of the swim, up to the date of the swim. Okay. Also, if you refer to the Ice Mile checklist, section 2.11, you'll notice that swimmers need to notify their country association. So in this case, it'll be IISA Canada, to let us know that you want to attempt to do an ice mile, and engage us as early as possible, especially if you have questions. Okay, we want everyone to come through IISA Canada. If IISA Global can't receive emails from they're receiving emails from across the world, okay? So please go through us. That helps in 2 ways. One, IISA Canada learns. We know, like, if there's unique individual questions, we learn what those answers are, that we can more quickly distribute that. And then it also helps IISA Global not having to deal with every single member from every single country, okay? So please go through us and ask us questions. We're here to help you, okay? Anything on this slide? All right. So this is just to highlight some of the Ice Mile specific rules in the safety rules and regulations in section 5 and section 10, but also from the IISA Ice Mile checklist. Sorry, I think I'm going to get tongue twisted saying all these words all the time. All right, so remember, you need your observer, the L1 official, who's going to make sure that everything's done in accordance to the IISA rules. They need to be an IISA member. Okay, and as I mentioned, accredited. That witness now, your witness is the second to your observer. They now must also have the IISA L1 official accreditation, okay? There to help the observer. And just a reminder, in case you haven't been on the website recently, or you may have missed our IISA Canada newsletter, that if you have your L1 or L2 qualification, you have until December 31st to go and renew it for another 2 years without having to pay again. All right, if you miss that deadline, or if you're new and you haven't done it before, you will need to pay to get those certifications, okay? And if you're not an IISA member and you're not getting these newsletters, please sign up with us, and we'd be happy. Sign up with IISA Global and shoot us an email, and we will add you to our mailing list, okay? Also, you need a medical officer. All right, so they're going to deal with any medical emergencies that may happen, and they have experience with dealing with cold water issues and hypothermia. All right. Also, so that's what's found in the rules and regulations. Just remember from the ISMILE checklist in section 2.8, the medical officer must also be an IISA member. And they also need to be a part. You need to know your safety process, safety plan and recovery process. All right, that's also in section 10. Okay. You need lots of people in addition. Okay, it takes a team of people. You need people to take those temperatures so that the swimmer's not going in and coming out before they swim. On water support, we'll get to the requirements for that in a couple of slides, but there may be requirements for a kayak or a boater. And then whether or not you have on water or land support, you need to have people designated to go in case of an emergency to extract that swimmer, okay? Also to have people available for recovery when the swimmer gets out of the water, helping them out over to the recovery and getting them through their recovery. Also, people, this is very important because your swim can't get ratified unless you get the proper evidence, right? So the photography and video is crucial. All right, you need lots of people. If it's really cold out and windy, you have a wind chill, right? It's best to have more people available, more devices, so you have warm fingers and extra batteries, okay? That's it there. Okay, and then for other things that you need to document, all right, within 30 minutes of the start of the swim, you want to make sure you look up what the wind speed is, the air temperature. You can use your smartphones, take a screenshot so that you have that documented with the timestamp and everything. You also need to have your three thermometer readings, reading to demonstrate that it's 5 degrees or less. Okay, so those thermometers, you want to take it, you want to make sure those readings are stabilized, they're not jumbling back and forth, that they're steady and just holding at that temperature. You want the probes to be 5 to 20 inches below the water surface. Make sure you go out somewhere along the swim course, the actual swim course, to take those readings. It's not taking a few steps in and taking the temperature there. You need to do it somewhere along the course. And that average can only be taken from 3 readings that are 5 or below. If you have one that's 5.1, it doesn't count. Your swim won't count. Okay, it has to be 5.0 or below. And make sure you get those calibrated thermometer. That's plus or minus. They come with little spec calibration certification that it has an accuracy of plus or minus 1 degree Celsius. And they have a 1 decimal display. So using only those external temperature probes, you can't use the laser or infrared, okay, or watches. You can't use that. And make sure those temperature readings are also taken within 30 minutes before the swim takes place. Again, I said no watches. And for distance, we have the GPS, okay? Any questions on that?
I have a question.
Yes.
I understand not using the watches and anything for any of the actual official documentation. Are you allowed to wear your watch when you're swimming though?
Yes, you can wear your watch. You just can't
good.
use it. You just can't use the data from it to submit.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yeah. Helen, did you have, I thought your hand was up.
Yeah, just a quick comment on the pictures and photography. When we're using our digital devices like the cell phones, which has happened to me when I was doing videos for Tom, it was a really cold day and it totally drained my battery. So just to keep that in mind, to have more than one phone or electronic device for pictures and videos.
Absolutely, great, thank you. And I will reiterate that later on a later on slide too, as well. Okay. Actually, this is great. It's going pretty quick. All right. So then, Emily, do you have a question?
Yeah, thanks. If you have the video, can you just use the still from the video as your photo, or do you need to have both videos and photos separately?
It depends on. I'll show that in a later slide, but because there's requirements for photos and video. But yeah, like if you only have video of the temperature, you can, like, that should be good, and you can submit it as a photograph. If you take a still of it, that would be okay. Does that answer your question? Yeah, okay. All right, so there's some new stuff concerning where your support is. So for those of you who have known before, you could be within shore and up to 25 meters with land support. So now with the new rules, you can only have land support if you're within 5 meters from shore, okay? So that you'd have to have a pretty nice drop off right at the shoreline. And the swimmer would have to maintain that distance from shore at all times during the swim, okay? Then you can have just land support. But if you're beyond that 5 meters and up to 25 meters, it is required now that you have to have some on-water support, so a kayak or paddleboard or something else. And the swimmer must, again, stay within that 25 meters from shore at all times. If you're out past that distance from shore, past 25 meters, you need to have motorized water support, which is not new. So, and if you do have motorized support and you're out that far, you need to make sure that you have the proper resources in the boat, equipment and people to make sure you're able to extract the swimmer safely and quickly to hightail it back to get them to shore, okay? Any questions? No? Okay, and that is one of the new ones that came up. Okay, so this is a little bit more on the photos and video, but again, it's very important because IISA Global, who's ratifying your swims, they're not here to see it firsthand, okay? So this documentation is evidence for them that you've done it in accordance to the rules and that it was done safely, it was done safely and it demonstrates integrity, okay? So it's very important. You can never take too many photos, take lots, different angles, zoom in and out. Make a list and assign who does what to make sure everything gets covered. And you can practice this during your swims. Take these checklists and stuff with you to actually go through the motions and see how it is. And like Helen was saying too, use those devices, have them out and exposed to see what works. Maybe you want to switch to something different. that can withstand the cold temperatures. Another thing is like your phone or a camera or something. If you tuck it inside your jacket to keep it warm against your body in between, instead of having it sitting out or in your external pocket, all right, because it's going to get colder much faster. And then when you go to use it, there might not be battery life, right? So you can kind of keep it tucked close to your body to keep it warm. And glare. In the bottom right-hand corner of this slide, you can kind of see one of the things, one of the watches or temperature probes have some glare on it, right? So take multiple angles, make sure that you're capturing what you meant to capture. All right. Also, get a good photo of your team. You need to also demonstrate that your observer and your witness and your medical officer are properly marked with their role. Okay, so that's new in the last year or less. So you can do either like an armband or a bib or something to mark who's the observer, who's doing what. All right, so that once people are marked up, that's a good time to take a picture. And at the safety briefing, get a good visual in a photo capture of the swim location and where it is, if there's a sign of what park or whatever, and just so that you can show, whether it's a lake or whatever. Get a good picture of the swim course, close in, wide, to get a whole perimeter of it, including the entry and exit. And also document the time and date of the swim, so on your video or phone, if you have time stamps that show up, that's helpful too. And get one of the recovery area of where the swimmer is going to go to get changed. And also it's a good idea to show it in proximity to the exit point, because there's rules on how far away you can be as well. There's a few extra ones that are new. They're on the IISA checklist in section 3, page 3, of things that you need to submit to document. So you need a front-facing picture of the swimmer in their ice swimming attire, so that IISA Global can confirm that you're wearing the right attire according to ice rules and regulations. Okay, so that you don't have a wetsuit on, stuff like that, or long sleeves, whatever. Also get a photo of the kayak and whatever whatever boat support you have, especially if it's required. Make sure you have photos of that, the final swim time, and of the swimmer while they're in recovery, not just getting over to recovery or exiting the water, but it's during their recovery. That's also in the IISA checklist now. Okay. And then during the swim, get photos and 2-minute videos. So again, for those electronics, if it's a day, high wind chill or whatever, make sure you got lots of backups and people, so that people can warm up their fingers in between, especially if it's something you can't really operate with mitts on, because that's a long time to have them out. So remember to capture the entry into the water and the start of the swim, midway through the swim, as well, showing the swimmer's pace and surroundings, getting a shot at that kayakers beside them, close to them. All right. Also exiting the water at the swim finish and getting over to the recovery area. Okay. And it seems really easy to have that, but when the weather's working against you, it can actually be challenging. Okay. So we actually went through that quite quickly. I think that was the last slide that I have. Yes. Did anyone have any questions so far on the information? I do not know what order. Hold on a second. 1 second, because I can find that out.
Helen's first.
Yes, Helen. Go ahead, Helen.
I just wanted to. Nadine.
Me?
Yes, go ahead, Helen.
I don't have a question. I'm good. Oh, I guess I did not bring down my hand earlier. Sorry, guys.
Tom, that's okay, Helen. Tom, go ahead. Oh, you're on mute. Sorry. You're still on mute, Tom. Tom, you're on mute. How about, okay, we'll go to Sue. Sue, you can go ahead and then we'll come back to Tom, okay?
Okay, sure. I just wanted, actually, apologies. Do you mind just scrolling up to the previous slide with the distances and everything?
Yes, no problem.
Thanks. I just realized I didn't take note of one thing.
Which one? Sorry, Sue.
Okay, so yeah, it's the within 25 meters. I just wanted some clarification. So
Yeah.
A kayak is required, but they must be no further than 25 meters from land. But does the kayak have to be within 10 meters of the swimmer at all times? It just doesn't specify.
So it doesn't specify, but I think because it's not a motorized one, isn't as much of a danger to the swimmer, right?
Okay.
But usually you're close to them, but not like on them paddling, hitting them with the paddle kind of thing. And thanks for coming back to this, because I don't think I mentioned that, when it's a motorized vehicle, you do need to keep a little bit of distance, but not too much.
Yeah, I guess I was just thinking, like, the kayak is great, but like, let's say you've got a 100-meter course, can they sit in the middle and watch and provide support at any point in time, or do they have to actually follow the lighting?
I do not believe there's a requirement that the kayaker has to be like right beside them.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's a good thing that we can follow up on to verify and make sure there isn't anything that states that, but I don't.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
But
Tom, did you want to?
Yes, I'll try again. How's this? In years past, as recently as last year, I think, when actually submitting your evidence, there was very limited slots for submitting your photos. So I used to have to try to get around it by like making what do you call it, mosaics or whatever of the various shots. But I was wondering if that's still the case, if perhaps you could put it forward to IISA International that they might want to increase the slots, because they're asking for quite a few photos now, and which is great. But the way I've approached it too is I've kept back in reserve the ones that I didn't submit, so I knew I had them if needed. But yeah.
So I will find that out from Ram. And for those of you on this call, Ram Barkai is the founder of the International Ice Swimming Association. So if I say Ram, that's who I'm talking about. So I will ask him. He did say that in the latest newsletter that they've recently made improvements to the website, make it more improved, the iSmile application specifically. So hopefully that's part of it. But I'm going to make a note to confirm with Ram for that. But thanks, Tom, for bringing that up. Jesse, you had.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a couple of things because it was mentioned about the video, and then there's that picture that was actually mine from a video. We had a non-stop video, which was glare the whole entire time. And those thermometers actually traveled with us. So just remember, just because it's on video, you might not be able to get a clear picture from it. It's a bit like these are tough things. This is why we're saying multiple sources is better, different angles. Overcast is horrible for glare. It's great for swimming, but horrible for glare. The other thing I wanted to mention though as well, and again, this is personal preference and I'm a little biased, but having a kayaker go with you allows you also to swim a straight. I'm not saying a lot of people can swim probably more straighter lines than me, but you're allowed to have someone guide you across. Because at least for myself, when I turn around, I get disorientated and I've gone off course a bit, and it just adds more time. It means you're in the water more. So you're allowed to use a kayaker to guide you, whether or not you're comfortable with that. I understand that, or a paddle or a stand-up paddleboarder. So please use those things to your advantage. Even if you're not super comfortable with them, it might be something it'd be worth practicing, depending on your course and your conditions. Those are just a couple notes I wanted to mention.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, actually, Jesse, if there's no other questions for what was just covered, Jesse, do you want me to share anything?
Yeah, I want you to pull up the safety. I was going to do the same order. I wanted you to pull up the safety brief checklists. Because we basically I'll just do a quick introduction. Jesse, I've done 2 ice miles now, a bunch of marathon swims. I've done documentation on both sides of things. I'm also work in aquatics and do lifeguarding and have had to rescue people in different situations, not in ice mile situations. But basically, we wanted to go over the fact that there's a lot of information. There's many documents. There's for these specific documents, which it is mentioned on the bottom, we are referring to the ICE. These are IISA. We're referring to IISA official documents, being the ice mile checklist, the official swimming rules and regulations, the IISA ice swimming medical and safety guidelines. There's also the medical assessment form and the ice mile observer form. So these lists have come directly. These information has come a lot directly from them, trying to fill in some of the gaps. The rules do get changed every few months, so we're trying to keep up with them nonstop. So please feel free if you've noticed any inconsistencies, because I've tried my hardest with this. But basically, when you show up to your event, and hopefully you've done this with a few people, we wanted the safety brief checklist is something that basically everybody who's there, you review all this in person. Doesn't matter the amount of emails you've gone back and forth to people. So we've divided it into a few different sections here. So we're just going to scroll kind of back and forth a few things. So the first, I'm just going to dissect it a little bit, but basically we are looking at 3 main things for the ice mile brief checklist. We are looking at who we're dealing, 5 main things. Who we're dealing with. We're highlighting the medical officer. We're doing a site-specific review that day of. We're doing our swim expectations of the swimmer specifically and procedures and protocols. Those are the 5 things we've identified. And then if we scroll back to the top of it, we have broken it down into the role players that you need, including the identification. So these are all reinforced by everything on the ice mile IISA ice mile checklist. Confirming that each person is there, what they're doing. We're all having these things in person, not just on a Zoom call. You can practice on a Zoom call, but in person. On water personnel, again, if it's not required, but we did put this in this checklist. Rescue crew and other personnel, even if your mom's coming, it's nice to know who's going to be there, who's going to support you, or if you don't want someone to be there, that's totally fine. This happens all the time. You need to make sure you know who's going to be there. I'm not going to go over every specific thing because some of this is already, most of the stuff in a lot of the rules. But again, if people have questions, I just want to keep going through the highlighted points. Additional people involved, even if it's a park ranger, paramedic, anybody that you have, especially if things don't go your way, or if things do go your way, you still want to know who's around. A lot of us, we live in a very big country with a lot of remote locations and less remote locations, and you might get attention even if it happened. The medical officer we added as a separate one because it does need to be highlighted very specifically that person understands you as a swimmer and what other medical issues might be that you might have that may or may not affect your swimming abilities. If we go into, we're going now into the last the section there that talks about site review. So site review is really, really important. We take for granted it's already there for us. We want to go through the swim course in person walk everybody through the swim course, whether or not we can physically walk the swim stuff. This stuff I'm actually going to go through a little bit more. And some of this stuff can change the day. I think I lost my network. I think I might have. Can you guys hear me? I'm not quite.
You're
sure.
skipping, Jesse.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're breaking
you guys
up, so we're getting parts of sentences. So yeah.
Sorry. Hopefully, can you hear me clear now?
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's all in the checklist. So I'm trying just to. It's a lot of information. It's better now. Okay. So swim entry and exit points. Where you're getting in the water, really important stuff. Again, the day of, if it's iced over overnight, you might have slipping and falling areas. You might want to bring extra carpets or extra little things that will help people get in and out of the water. Really important things about landmarks and facilities, what is available off season might not be available when you're actually doing your ice mile when parks are not as accessible in the winter, depending what part of the country you're in. The emergency driving route is something that is really important that I really emphasize, that you really need to make sure that whoever's in charge of potentially getting you to a hospital or emergency services, in case your recovery is not going to happen the way things are not the way you want to go, because you might not have a lot of time to react to these situations. So practice makes perfect. Or driving these routes when in the summertime, so you know what the difference is. A lot of people in Canada, I grew up, being outdoors and backpacking and stuff like that. So I've done this stuff, but in different circumstances. If we keep going down, this is all, again, already in IISA lists, but our swim expectations, our stroke rate, what we do as swimmers, there will be a decrease in stroke rate. In a few different, and I'll get to questions just at the end of this one. You will have a decrease in stroke rate. Your body position will change. That's not a bad thing, but it's just things that we need to be aware of. And to make sure you check all your extra safe equipment and safety equipment, everything from your rewarming kit to all the little bits and bobs to making sure your car is filled with gas, kind of things like that. There's not one little thing that you should not really kind of review. And again, I put some of the acronyms at the bottom, but I think that pretty much covers most of it, because I'm not going to go into every little detail because we still have 2 other checklists that are within that are directly referred to in this checklist. Can we just go back to the other one though, because I think there's some questions. Yeah, I'll take the question. Sorry, whoever's wants to go first. Or if Nadine wants to say something.
It's Tom.
I was just, before Tom goes, I was just going to let you know, Jesse, it's 6:46. I know we're sort of watching the time, just so you're aware, okay? I'll put my hand in.
I'm aware. Yeah. Tom, go ahead. Tom?
My hand must be up from before. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Same problem.
So no question?
Well, one quick one, actually. So I understand IISA International saying they recommend keeping it under 45 minutes. I just want to make sure that used to be like a disqualifying feature if it was your first ice mile, and it counted as an extreme. It no longer does. I just want to understand that it's a recommendation. It's a good guideline, but it's not a disqualifying thing if you go 46 minutes, as long as you're hale and hearty and your crew deems you fit to do that.
Not to my understanding, and Amy and Nadine can confirm this. To my understanding, it's a strong recommendation for safety, for a good reason, but it's not a disqualification. To my understanding.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Is Susan's next, or? Yeah. Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry. Thank you. Love the checklist. I'm an auditor, so this is great for me. But who is responsible for completing this?
This is just for you, as stated in the IISA rules, the swim organizer, or if that might be the swimmer, whoever is taking control over organizing the swim is usually, it's a tool. It's not a requirement. This is a tool for you as a swimmer or as a swim organizer. Usually, I myself usually organize my own swims, but if you have a friend of yours that's organizing your swim, this is a guide for them. But Amy can, say something.
Yeah, I guess I was just thinking, because I'm usually the observer, and so it's like some of these things, like on a safety brief, like I'll do a safety brief or whatever, and so I'm just trying to figure out like who amongst us needs to make sure that this is done, all of these things are done. So if it's swimmer or organizer, I guess it can just be decided. But yeah.
Yeah, and just to add to that, so just remember that Ice Mile checklist, it's written to swimmers. So it is the responsibility of the swimmer to know everything that needs to be going on. Actually executing it, yes, they can talk about who's going to do what and, make certain people responsible for different things. But it is the swimmer that needs to make sure all the resources are in place to make sure the safety, the plans, everything like that are there. It is up to the swimmer, but they can delegate.
Is there anything else, or can we quickly go to the next one? Because I have about 7 minutes. Okay, I think we're going to go to the next one then. I don't see anything coming up. Okay, so really important premature and or exit plan and premature exit and rescue plan. We need to have an exit plan if things don't go our way. This is quoted from IISA, Ice Mile checklist. Ensure safety logistics are in place according to swimmers' rescue and recovery plans. So, and in accordance with the open water swim course, the IISA rules. It's important that we plan out how we're going to get out of the water. Again, weather can change. This is day of. Site selection is what I highlighted, and equipment needed. So I'm not going to go over the details. I've pretty much laid it out. Check with your local government regulations. Each be different provincial, even though most water regulations are federal. And then the exit points, you need to be very specific on choosing your locations, how your crew deals with it, your route to the recovery area, including on a premature exit point. As in, if you do a 100-meter course, if you stop 50 meters in between or something, you need to figure out some sort of plan. It might not be perfect, but some point during your route where you can exit or how that would happen. And depending on the geography of your area, you might need help with a kayaker, you might need help if you have a boat available, or even just shore people who have wading boots to get in and grab you out, because you do need a safety belt to more easily grab the swimmer. And again, there's some review stuff here about route to emergency services and different types of equipment. Again, some of this stuff might not seem relevant, but it might be. This is depending on your area and your part of the country. Does anybody, I'm just going over this one really fast. Does everybody understand what we're talking about when it refers to premature exit or exit points? Because that's the hard part. That's when you're the coldest, is when you're finished or you're maybe going to bail early. And it's okay to bail early. It's just part of safety. It might just turn into an ice kilometer or something like that. It's good practice, even if it doesn't happen. Yeah, so is there any questions? Because then I want to go over the last one and then review. Yeah. Or if anybody has any things that maybe I've missed as well, we're constantly wanting to, improve these things as well. This is a lot from West Coast, but I do understand East Coast as well. So the recovery plan is a plan that's used to get out of your water afterwards. You do need to practice recovery. It's very important. I know Ram has said that you only start your swim once you get out of the water. That is definitely a quote I've seen. I just don't know where it is. So I even said here, likelihood of the swimmer will not be able to communicate afterwards, because the colder you are, the less you can talk. You're going to slur, you could possibly slur your words. These are all signs of hypothermia. We are doing this purposefully, and this will happen to us at some point. So this one is more of a summary. I've divided it into location, the location of what you want to find out where you're actually physically going to be changing, even if that's in a car. Your location of the changing area, and then your recovery location. They can be the same location, but somebody like me, I'm only 5'9", but I can't get changed in a small car. I have to get changed outside because I have a bad hip, and I get into a car afterwards. So we scroll down a little bit more, sorry. And then, so there's only 2 points. Sorry, this one's only 2 points. So recovery, again, really important. Please try and practice this during your practicing. Who you're going to be using to help you change, because you're almost probably not going to be able to change yourself. And I really encourage, we really encourage people to have a closed area in terms of for permanent recovery where there's no wind, trying to have something. That's why we recommend, if it's a remote location, we recommend cars or houses where you're actually out of that, not just putting a heater. It can be done where you put a heater in an outhouse, in a changing, a park facility, but we want something where we keep the heat. Even if we can't create heat, we want to keep that heat. Any heat that is generated by us or other people, we can keep that heat enclosed, which is why a car is usually recommended. Well, not recommended, but a lot of people use it around the world if for remote site locations. Tents don't provide, I mean, some tents do, but most, camping tents have air replace. And then, sorry, there is more on this one. There is the crew, and making sure that we do talk about the physical crew that are coming to physically change us, and the extra equipment that we may or may not need, because you're just going to get colder and colder. And I've even changed my clothes because I know the cold comes into my clothes before. That's not recommended. I'm just saying that's some things that people do. And yeah, things like heaters, making sure gas, electric, all these little details are kind of all covered. Driving a car, preheating a car, or even sometimes driving the car can also help heat circulate better, depending. I know a few people have done different things. So that is all I really have to say. There's a lot of information in there. Is there any, I just want to open the floor because I have about 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Does anybody have any questions about some of the points highlighted on the recovery plan? Excellent. It's a lot of information, but hopefully it will at least keep you thinking. It's about thinking and trying to, what can go wrong, will go wrong, or other things that can happen,
Great. Thanks, Jessie. So that wraps it up for us, just about. Like I said, if you go to the very last slide at the deck, you have our contact points. If you think of other questions, if you want to know more, if you're new to this and you don't know how to register on the IISA Global website to set up your own profile, if you're thinking of doing a Nice Mile, of course, please reach out. I would also encourage anybody who has any feedback about this session, what you might wanted to have heard more about, if it was good information for you. We'd like to hear that as well too. So please email. That's probably the easiest way. And we'd take any feedback that you have. I think with that, unless Amy and Jessie, unless you have anything else you'd like to cover, I'll just hand the floor over maybe to Amy first, and then Jessie, and then I think we're closed for the night.
Great, thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to get to that last slide.
There we go.
Close it after we were done. Yeah, no, thank you very much for joining. And again, I have a feedback log ready and waiting for when people have questions. I actually see Marius, you have a question, but what we'll do, please email us in the chat. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. And that's it. I know we're short for time, but thank you very much, everybody.
And I have to go. Sorry, I have to go to work. Sorry, everybody. Thank you. Email me if you have any questions.
Yeah, Marius, I know you joined a little bit late. This call cuts off automatically, so it just shuts down. So Amy won't really have time to answer your question, but if you do send it by email, we'll definitely reply. Yeah.
I'm okay. Just wanted to know if the session or the call was recorded. And if it's not recorded, then I would suggest that going forward to record it, because not everybody can join at the right time.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. So we've attempted to record it. I'll let you know if it worked. But it appears to be working just fine. So yeah. So we will post that or make it available for you. Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope it was a good opportunity to connect with other people across the country, and I do hope we could do this a little bit more often, maybe with other topics. Again, send us a message if there's stuff you'd like to hear more about. And with that, wish everybody a good evening, and out on the other coast, good morning, I guess, or good early afternoon. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.